Welcome to Royal Secret. In a world where royalty often seems distant, wrapped in silks, trapped behind palace gates, and paraded through stately corridors, something extraordinary has just happened. A king and queen have stepped out of their golden frame. They've braved roaring seas, kissed windswept cheeks, and heard the voices of fishermen and schoolchildren alike echo across islands suspended between sky and sea. King Frederik X and Queen Mary of Denmark are not merely performing ceremonial duties. No, this is something deeper. This is not pageantry. This is a pilgrimage, a profoundly symbolic journey that has stirred the very soul of the North Atlantic. Their recent voyage to the Faroe Islands is not only history in the making. It's a touching diplomatic ballet, laced with love, legacy, and the raw, emotional ties that bind the Danish crown to one of its most fiercely independent and culturally unique territories. And this story is far more than royal headlines. So buckle up. This is not your average royal visit. This is the story of how a modern king and queen brought the monarchy to life, among the wild cliffs, misty villages, and beating hearts of the Faroe Islands. And as we uncover the intimate moments, the stirring speeches, and the powerful symbolism behind this journey, one question keeps rising to the surface: is this the moment King Frederik and Queen Mary truly became the people's monarchs? The royal yacht Danbrog, a symbol of Denmark's enduring maritime tradition, sliced through the Atlantic waters like a silver needle threading ancient ties back together. On board, King Frederik X and Queen Mary, heads held high, smiles grounded in sincerity, hearts full of anticipation. This wasn't a mere ribbon-cutting tour. This was a carefully orchestrated diplomatic visit, echoing the deep cultural and political ties that have connected Denmark to the Faroe Islands for over 600 years. As the distant islands emerged from the fog like whispered legends, the scene was set for something powerful, perhaps even transformational. Nestled between Iceland and Norway, the Faroe Islands are more than just a speck on the map. They are a kingdom within a kingdom, a self-governing archipelago of 18 dramatic volcanic islands, known for their fierce weather, rugged coastlines, and fiercely proud people. The Faroese maintain their own parliament, language, and culture. Yet, they remain part of the Kingdom of Denmark, a bond that's historically complex and deeply emotional. This visit by King Frederik and Queen Mary wasn't just symbolic, it was highly anticipated. The people of the Faroes see their monarch not as a figurehead but as a living bridge to the Danish crown. As the royal couple stepped ashore on Tórshavn, the capital, the reception was nothing short of ecstatic. Flags flew high, choirs sang old sea songs, and children waved hand-painted signs reading, Velkommen Kongur og Drottning, welcome King and Queen. Unlike many royal tours, there was no stiff formality here. This was an embrace. This was authentic. This was Frederik and Mary at their most human. From their first moments on the islands, the couple showed an unusual ability to connect with everyday people. Queen Mary, ever graceful, always poised, spoke with mothers in health centers, hugged elderly residents at community gatherings, and sat cross-legged with schoolchildren, laughing as they taught her Faroese phrases. King Frederik, with his trademark calm and steady presence, listened intently to local leaders discussing fisheries, climate resilience, and education. He wasn't just nodding for the cameras. He was engaged, deeply. It was diplomacy by presence, by humility, by humanity. While the atmosphere was joyous, this royal visit carried significant political weight. Tensions between autonomy and unity have always hovered around the Faroese-Danish relationship. The Faroes have their own parliament and manage their internal affairs. But foreign policy and defense remain under Copenhagen's control. Some Faroese advocate for full independence. Others value the economic and historical connection to Denmark. So, when a newly crowned King Frederik and Queen Mary made the journey to the islands so early in their reign, it sent a loud and clear message: you matter. Royal experts saw this as a strategic masterstroke, a unifying gesture that quietly but firmly reaffirmed the monarchy's commitment to inclusivity and connection. This was not a show visit. This was a statement, said Lars Mikkelsen, a Danish constitutional historian. The king is signaling that no part of the realm is peripheral. Every community is central. The royal itinerary was a mosaic of the Faroese experience. It wasn't limited to the capital. On the island of Eysturoy, they met with marine biologists researching ocean currents and sustainable fishing practices, a critical issue for the island's future. In the tiny village of Jojivi, With fewer than 50 residents, the royal couple joined locals for a traditional meal of skerpikja, wind-dried mutton, and were serenaded by folk musicians in a converted boathouse. In Klaksvik, the second largest town, they opened a community center and watched a youth football match, with King Frederik even kicking off the game, much to the delight of the children. Wherever they went, it wasn't about spectacle. It was about grounding the monarchy in every corner of the realm. Chapter 6. Royal Symbolism Reimagined. The new face of monarchy. This visit marks a defining moment in the public image of Frederik and Mary. Gone is the formality of past royal generations. In its place, a sincere, modern model of monarchy that is emotionally intelligent, environmentally conscious, and deeply connected to the people. The Faroe Islands visit echoes something more profound than simple tradition. It's a shift, a soft power rebranding, a monarchy that listens, learns, and evolves. 5 Queen Mary, an Australian by birth, has never seemed more Danish than during this trip. Her easy grace with the locals, her tears during a choir's emotional rendition of a Faroese hymn, was a reminder of her power as a bridge between worlds. And King Frederik, who has long been seen as a reluctant heir, now walks confidently in the shoes of kingship. This journey made one thing clear: he is not just fulfilling a role, he is living it. Every royal visit has its iconic images. This one had dozens. A photo of Queen Mary crouching to speak with a girl holding a handmade daisy crown. King Frederik laughing heartily with a group of sheep farmers as sea spray misted their woolen coats. The couple standing hand in hand on a clifftop at sunset, the Atlantic raging behind them. But perhaps the most powerful moment came when a local woman presented the Queen with a handwoven Faroese shawl and whispered, "Now you are truly one of us." The Queen's eyes welled up. No press release, no speech, no headline could have said more, and at a formal ceremony in the Lagting, the Faroese parliament, King Frederik delivered a speech that will likely be remembered for years to come. "In this wind, we hear the voice of history," he said. "In your mountains, we see the strength of a people who have always stood tall, even when the seas raged. And in your eyes, we see not only pride, but partnership. We are not separate, we are part of one another." It was an emotional crescendo. Applause filled the hall, and when Queen Mary followed with remarks about community, shared future, and cultural respect, she won hearts all over again. The Faroe Islands visit may have concluded, but its impact is far from over. It has redefined the tone of Frederik and Mary's reign. It has reminded the Danish people, and the world, that the monarchy can still matter, not because of privilege, but because of purpose. And in the Faroes, the memory of this visit will linger like sea mist. Children will remember the Queen's warm touch. Elders will recall the King's earnest gaze. And together, they will carry the legacy of a royal journey that felt less like a tour, and more like a homecoming. While official ceremonies made headlines, it was the candid, unscripted moments that captured hearts and sparked viral attention across social media. Behind the scenes, the Danish royal couple showcased a rare blend of warmth, humor, and authenticity that made them seem less like monarchs and more like neighbors, just neighbors in state regalia. On the second day of their visit, during a break between engagements on Sandoy Island, Queen Mary was seen sitting on a bench by the harbor, chatting animatedly with a group of young Faroese girls about school, sports, and even makeup trends. One girl later said, "She asked me what I want to be when I grow up." She really listened. Like really. Meanwhile, King Frederik struck up a spontaneous football game with local children, without any cameras expected. Someone caught the moment on a phone, and soon the video of "the king who played in sneakers" was trending in both Denmark and the Faroes. For a monarchy that has long struggled with the balance between ceremonial stiffness and modern connection, these tiny flashes of sincerity meant everything. The Faroe Islands are not only beautiful, they're ecologically fragile. Rising sea levels, warming oceans, and overfishing are all existential issues for the island's future. King Frederik and Queen Mary didn't just acknowledge this, they embraced it. On Kalsoy Island, they visited a marine research center working on sustainable fishing practices. Queen Mary donned waterproof boots and climbed into a boat to view fish farms and seaweed projects that could reshape the region's environmental future. "Caring for our oceans is no longer optional," Queen Mary said in a speech at the center. "It is a duty, for every islander, and every global citizen." This wasn't just lip service. The royal couple's visit elevated the global conversation about the Faroe Islands' role in Arctic climate diplomacy. Scientists said the attention could attract more international funding, and policymakers welcomed the signal that Copenhagen sees climate resilience as a shared mission. King Frederik added, "What happens in the North Atlantic affects us all. We must protect it, not only for ourselves, but for our children and their children." Far more than a series of political gestures, the royal visit was steeped in the cultural richness of the Faroese people. At the National Theatre in Tórshavn, King Frederik and Queen Mary attended a special performance featuring traditional Faroese ballads, known as kvæði, combined with contemporary dance. The production told the story of island life through myth, migration, and memory, and when the curtain fell, the standing ovation wasn't just for the artists. It was also a tribute to the royal couple's genuine interest in local culture. The Queen was later seen chatting with the young lead dancer backstage, visibly moved. She said she had goosebumps the whole time, the dancer told reporters. Queen Mary also visited the Faroese Art Museum, where she admired striking modern works inspired by the archipelago's harsh weather, folklore, and resilience. In her speech, she said, "Faroese art does not ask for attention, it demands it. It reflects the wind, the waves, the longing, and the pride of a people shaped by the sea." She was later gifted a painting by Faroese artist Edward Fuglo, who said, "She is not just a queen, she's a patron of culture. She makes us feel seen." Queen Mary's wardrobe during the Faroe Islands tour became an instant talking point, both in Denmark and internationally. Far from relying on couture extravagance, the Queen made carefully considered sartorial choices that balanced elegance with cultural symbolism. On arrival in Tórshavn, she wore a dark emerald coat designed by a Danish-Faroese collaboration, subtly embroidered with patterns resembling traditional Faroese shawls. The look paid homage to the islanders while reinforcing sustainable fashion, as the garment was made from recycled wool. She also rewore a classic dress from a previous Greenland visit, sending a quiet signal of continuity across the Danish realm's territories. But the most striking moment came on the evening of the state dinner at Skansen Fortress. Queen Mary arrived in a flowing navy gown accessorized with heirloom jewelry once worn by Queen Ingrid. The look balanced modernity with monarchy, strength with sentiment. Faroese fashion bloggers lit up Instagram with comments like, "She wears meaning, not just fabric." To understand the depth of this royal visit's impact, one only needs to hear the people of the Faroe Islands speak. In street interviews across the islands, the tone was overwhelmingly positive. They didn't come to wave. They came to talk, to listen. "For the first time, I felt we were truly equal in the kingdom. Queen Mary was so warm. She cried during the choir. That's real emotion." King Frederik has the presence of a true leader, quiet but powerful. Even among Faroese politicians, some of whom support greater independence, there was respect. One local leader told reporters, "The king and queen showed a commitment that goes beyond politics. Whether we move toward more autonomy or not, this visit reminded us that respect and dialogue are still possible." In a world where royals can sometimes feel out of touch, Frederik and Mary had struck a rare chord: relevance. What does this all mean for the monarchy? In one sense, it was a traditional royal tour. But in another, it was a bold reimagining of what modern monarchy looks like in 2025. King Frederik and Queen Mary are not governing monarchs in the legislative sense. But they govern in the hearts of people. Their influence lies in symbolism, in presence, in making others feel seen. In visiting the Faroe Islands, they did more than fulfill a duty. They stitched new emotional threads between the crown and the most distant corners of the realm. They didn't come to dictate. They came to understand. And in doing so, they reminded the world what soft power truly looks like when it is wielded with humility and heart. As the royal yacht Danbrog pulled away from the dock on the final morning, a group of local children ran along the shoreline, waving the Danish and Faroese flags side by side. On the deck, Queen Mary wiped away tears. King Frederik waved long after the boat had moved too far for the children to see. Moments like these aren't written into diplomatic cables. They're written into history. Thanks for watching and please don't forget to subscribe.